Hey guys, this is Bob Ross, and I wanted to welcome you to Office Hours with Bob Ross. This is episode number 15. So, episode number 15. In this episode, what I'd like to do is reflect back on this past year and where things are going from here, and just talk a few things out, what I'm looking forward to, and again, if there's ever any questions, any topics you want me to discuss, please make sure to leave them in the comments, and or reach out to me. You can reach out to me on social media, or get my email, or even on the platform musiclessons.com. So before we get started, I just want to say that I'm a little bit excited because if you follow what I'm doing, you'll know that I updated the pickups, and I know it really doesn't look that much different, but I've updated the pickups on my guitar to DiMarzio 36th anniversary PAFs, and I'm really digging the sound of these PAFs. I got the guitar plugged up, and I have my boost on right now, the RC boost, so you can hear a little bit of what's going on here with it. So it's driving it a little bit, so if you hear a little bit of distortion, that's what's going on. Something that's a little bit different that I usually don't have on the guitar is a unwound third. I have a plain third string on here, so it feels a little bit different than what I'm used to. Used to use, like many of us probably, I used to use a plain third, but every guitar, I have a wound third for the last, decade or so. So it's a little bit different, got a little bit of a different sound to it. It makes it a little bit more lively in sounds, and also something else new that I have that I think is really cool is the Keeley pedal I have here, and I'm going to turn off my boost just for a second. And for those that are just listening, you should hopefully be able to pick up on this too. I know you don't see it here if you haven't checked it out. Keeley El Rey Dorado, and I'm going to kick this on real quick. I'll kind of boost up the sound here really quick. Trying to make sure not to be too loud because my daughter's sleeping upstairs. So I'm trying not to be too loud with that. But anyways, it's a Plexi style overdrive, and I'm really digging the sound of that. It's a really amazing pedal so far, and I have it on the two switchable sides, low and high. I have it on low, and I think that the sound and the drive is way down, and it's very clear. It feels like I don't even have to try to play. It's just so easy to play with that pedal. And some of you may know what I'm talking about. Sometimes when you play with certain guitars or pedals or anything else, sometimes you notice that it feels like it's a fight, and it doesn't feel like I have to fight at all to use this pedal. So I'm really happy with the sounds of this, and I can't wait to gig with it this year. So anyways, let's discuss a few things. So this past year, and if I haven't said this, I don't think I have. I hope you guys have been having a great Christmas and looking forward to the new year. But looking back over the past year, this is again episode number 15, and that means, except for the one episode where the family was sick, this is 15 weeks of putting this out. And I continue to get questions and suggestions for topics to cover, either to make lessons with, or to be answered on the office hours meetup every week. And I just want to say thanks for all your support, and especially for all of you that are following me on social media. It's amazing to have the support that I have, and anybody that's watched my videos on, whether it's the videos of my gigs that I do, or if it's the videos me talking about certain topics, or just being candid about certain things, with the ups and downs. Thanks a lot for all that you guys do. It really means a lot to me. And again, in thinking back, the 15-year-old me just starting to play the guitar could have never imagined the support and being able to reach so many people, not only across the U.S. but in other countries, and having people reach out to me from other countries, wanting lessons, or just to chat with me and ask me questions, or just to leave a comment to say, hey, sounds great. I'm thankful for all the support, because you don't have to do any of that at all. You could choose to just bypass everything I put out. But I'm glad that you listen to what I do, and I really do hope, from the feedback I get, I think it's evident, but I really hope that the things that I do help to inspire to some extent, and help you to want to push to learn more, or it helps give you some motivation to know that you're not the only one that deals with certain things when it comes to, pursuing music business, or the career of music, or trying to have a family, and working that with the teaching and the gigging. So, I hope that it is helping you guys to, hear this perspective. And with that being said, I mentioned this before, and for this year, I really want to pursue the idea of, and I think very well could be an ebook, the idea of putting out something that addresses some of these topics that I remember coming out of school and wondering, not only how to get gigs, but how do I approach a venue about gigs? How do I know how much to ask for? What to expect when it comes to taxes, or what to expect in the financial aspect, trying to balance things out. And I mentioned this idea of contacting a list of musicians. And if I can't remember the name of the book right off the top of my head. If you guys remember, there was a book by a guy named Joe Galbraith? I think it was Galbraith. Anyways, the book had to do with the different perspectives that guitarists have when it comes to playing an instrument, and their approaches to how to play a song, and what they're thinking as they're playing. And my idea was, that would be really interesting if you took the same approach, but instead of the usual questions that a lot of us ask about, when it comes to improvisation or how you practice your skills, if it was geared more towards what do you do to get a gig, or what steps did you take once you were starting to pursue a career in music. And there's a list of people that I have in mind already. And again, when I presented this, I asked if there was any, certain musicians that you guys would be interested in hearing, their perspective from. And I got some responses, but I do have a list of some people for sure that I'm wanting to reach out and contact, and I do think it would be useful. So when it comes to thinking ahead about what's next, that's something that I definitely want to pursue and put out there, because I think it's important, because I still look up things and try to find more information. Even though over the years I'm gaining experience in just doing it, I still think that it's something that a lot of people wonder about. And if you're coming out of college and you have no idea what to do, because a lot of times you're prepped in knowing how to play a song, but you don't know how to land a gig, or dealing with 1099s. There's just a lot of things that, in that regard, real world situations that gets left out sometimes. And that's a blanket statement. I don't know how every university approaches their curriculum in this regard. So that's a little bit of a broad mass statement, blanket statement. But I think that it's still lacking enough based on the things that I see on social media, the questions that people are asking, or the questions people ask me. So I think it's something important that I want to address and give, maybe shed some light on the topic a bit more. Something else that's coming up. In August, I got together with some guys I've been playing with over the last, I don't know, depending on which one of them you're talking about, over the last, 5 years to 6 years or so, depending on which musician. But I got together with a bassist, tenor sax player, and drummer, Matt McCoy, Dan Barger, and Sean Herzik, and we recorded about 7 tunes of mine. And that's a new album that I plan to release in this new year, 2020. And I'm not going to give specifics yet of when that's going to come out, because I don't want to get people's hopes up just yet. There's a few things I have to confirm and make sure of, but just know that the idea, hopefully, looking more of, possibility of spring of this year, putting out the album. And it includes some songs that, have spanned the last decade. And I really felt like the group of guys I was playing with rebuilt this rapport, and by recording this album, it documented where we were at the time. And I want to release that way you guys can hear it. And some of these songs you guys have heard, I have live versions, but finally to have a legit recording and to put it out there, to represent that stage in our musicianship together. I'm really looking forward to that, and I hope you guys are too. So stay tuned for that. That's what's coming up in the new year for, as far as new music. And it's been a while since I released an album, so it's time. Now, another thing has to do with teaching. This past year on musiclessons.com, you may have noticed that I had done some master classes. So for the master classes, I think there were 2 of them that I ended up doing, and I have the courses and lessons that are on there, but the idea is to try to throw out a few more master classes, so like meetups or webinars, whatever you want to call it. I want to put some more of those out there. And I'll give you plenty of heads up when those are going to happen. And again, what happens with these, which is very similar to the office hours, is that if you get on there, you have the ability to interact and go one-on-one and ask questions. So, and it's in a format to where there's other people that can join in, and we can kind of bounce around some ideas and maybe talk some things out that aren't so clear, questions that you may want to engage in a little bit further in detail. But I do want to have a few more master classes. There's a list of things that I have written down as far as lessons to put out / courses in the coming year. But I'm always up to hearing more ideas and things that you would like for me to talk about. That helps to generate more ideas, because I have a set thing, so many topics off the top of my head that I feel like are pretty important. But if there's particular things you want me to cover, then make sure to throw those out there and mention them. That way I don't miss something, and we can engage in some things that you may be wondering about or want to explore a little bit more in detail, as opposed to what I plan on covering. Outside of that, again, another year's passing by, so it's kind of hard to believe that this year's already flew by. There's been quite a number of gigs that I've had. I've had a lot of great musical opportunities, making music with a lot of great musicians over the past year. I really hope that not only myself, but all of you are able to have a lot of success in your musical journey as far as performing, teaching, whatever that you're pushing for in the new year. I hope that you are able to gain a lot of fulfillment in your career as well. So I'm looking forward to the new year. And again, I want to say thanks. I hope that you guys have a great into this year, and a great New Year's Eve into the new year. And again, thank you for all your support. It's to even try to grasp this idea, again, try to grasp this idea of reaching so many different people and people actually watching what I do and enjoying it and sharing it and etc. It means a lot to me. It really does. I'm very sincere in that. So and I don't take anything for granted. So thanks again. All right, guys, that will do it for this week's Office Hours with Bob Ross. I'll be back next week. And again, questions, topics, anything at all, leave them in the comments. Send me a message. That way I know what you're looking to talk about. And join me on musiclessons.com. Join me on this. It's free. There's no charge. Just hop on and engage in the conversation. All right. Thanks again, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.